Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. This is your friend Ursie. And yes, can you feel the energetics of the new days of April 2025? Fortunately, Mercury is going to station direct this next week. I think it's Monday. So who knows? We're going to have an interesting weekend, right? Anyway, I'm here because I want to thank everybody who asked for a starlight report using Bernadette Brady's incredible researched Egyptian-based visual astrology. This is looking at that moment of your birth and understanding which of the deities, which star or celestial beings were there from your rising star and your setting star. So today I'm going to shift over now and do a different type of astrology. This is more akin to what is called quantum soul guidance. It's galactic astrology. And so, in its core essence, what it's doing is taking the moment of your birth and then using the natal wheel. So, we're looking now in terms of aspects. And we're going to see what stars were connected with which planets. And looking at this idea of who you are as a cosmic portrait in 3D in this lifetime. So first we looked at Bernadette Brady, the Starlight Report, using the Egyptian methodology, working with Purans, actually looking at the sky and going, wow, here comes a star rising from the below the horizon and up, and here's another one setting down into the underworld. So now we're looking more about the circle of the astrological wheel. And I was given permission to share for anonymous. And what I'm going to do is give you a little taste test. So anyone who's interested in getting more of a galactic astrology session or report, you can look at galacticastrochart.com to just get a brief glimpse, not all the stars, but a free sample of what is it in my soul's connection up in the heavens. Some of this for me is so beautiful because the mythos of what is above is like a beautiful mirror for what is below. So that Hermetic wisdom coming into this idea of above and below, from without is same as within. So there's one way of looking at it from an artistic lens of, wow, if I am looking into my mirror and seeing what stars were connected to me as a soul, in other words, where have I had other, let's say, lifetimes? What were the lessons learned and which ones still need to be integrated? And then I chose to use this human incarnation to kind of, marry up the oppositions, learn to work on the squares, which are internal, friction points. All of this is under the premise of how can I expand? And if you're listening to this channel on the Ascension Playground, you're probably already a seeker, someone who knows there's got to be something more than what I was taught in my community, my schools, my religious beliefs. Is there something more as we awaken to remembering more of our galactic consciousness? So let's go take a peek at someone's chart that they allowed me to take a look at, and I can give you a little snapshot or a flavor. So because this is the year of the snake, see if I can move this. 2025 is the year of the greenwood snake. Just got to say, yes, snake energy. We could ascribe it to the divine feminine. We could ascribe it to hermetical healing, how to take poison and alchemically change it into medicine. So, this idea of how do we follow the snake? The biggest lesson for the snake year also is how do we let go and shed the things and thoughts that we no longer need in our energy field? We're all in a state of evolution, and involution. Sometimes the more we go in, the further we go out. It's this beautiful, like toroidal principle, right? So again, 2025, if you accept this idea of who is there to want to co-create with me, we're really playing this cosmic game of dancing with yourself, in other aspects. So if we look at this idea of what is it to be multidimensional, all right, this idea that I'm not just this incarnation, this timeline. Instead, we're working with Gaia, Mother Earth, and many of us are timeline shifting, jumping, back and forthing, dreaming. So we want to say thank you, beautiful snake, for 2025. And when you count up the numbers 2025, that equals a 9. And for those of you who love numerology, 9 is about completion. So, what is it this year for you and for me that is ready to be shed and I'm done? I'm not there anymore. So, the new you. And if you think back to being a child, you're not the same person as you were as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, as an adult. And some of us are in the wisdom years of either grandparenting or just living our best years in the golden years. So here we go. This is going to be a little slideshow for you. Having studied and being a certified galactic astrologer through the Quantum Soul Guidance Program of Julia Balaz, and you can read or have some links in the description below. I do have an affiliate link. So if you're interested in taking any of Julia's online courses, feel free to use my affiliate link. That would help bring resources back to keeping this Ascension Playground thriving. Anyway, we begin with the astrological wheel. Okay, so the moment of birth. This is working with the tropical zodiacal wheel. The reason we do that is it connects into the seasons and time. And so, what do we see right away? We see a whole cluster of Cancerian, the sun in Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, the South Node. So the previous life coming from a nurturance, beautiful mother kind of feeling here. Mercury in Cancer, Uranus in Cancer. So when we see a grouping of energy, these dance partners, we can call that a stellium. That looks like they're within orb. Yeah. So a lot of Cancer ending up in the second house of your resources. And we see an ascendant in Gemini. So the ruler of the chart will be Mercury. So this Mercury is in the third house, someone who's a writer, a communicator, talking from the heart, talking from a perspective of, I care about you guys. So the ruler of the whole chart in this third dimensional person is going to have a very strong mercurial nature, chatter, chatter, or a writer, writer. And then we look around and we see here's the North Node. This is still, again, just in the 3D. We haven't gone galactic yet, but this is the North Node, the stretch goal. Wow, this anonymous person placed their stretch goal in a very interesting house. It's the 8th house of death, sex, and rebirth. It's the intense house of transformation. Interesting. I just started this video not knowing what I was going to find. I'm doing a ramble. And look at that, the most intense house. This is the house of the scorpion, the eagle, and the phoenix. It's the only triphasic house, let's say, that embodies Scorpio. But this is the 8th house in Cancer. So mastery into the underworld, mastery into the areas that are really deep, the alchemy, going deep, deep, deep into the earth where the diamonds are held, deep into inner earth. So we see the stretch goal there. And then we look at the emotional intelligence in Aries. And Aries in the 11th house, moon, 9 degrees. Interesting. So, how this individual would show up, let's just say, this is just broad strokes emotionally. Let's go, let's pioneer, let's try it, but it's in the house of networks, of groups, of friendship. It's also the house of holding a dream, a dream for the future. So interesting, right? So the moon in Aries, the ascendant in Gemini, so fire and air, and the sun in water. Well, fire and air go well. So, how this person feels and how this person is seen in the world, the ascendant, go well together. It's just the sun, your identity, 2 degrees Cancer, 17 minutes in the second house, opposite your natal Mars, exact 2 degrees and 2 degrees. So your identity of who you know yourself to be can sometimes be at odds with how you feel into yourself and how we see you out in the world. Interesting, right? Not sure how that lands in the real life, but when we see that air and fire work well together, water and earth pair well together. So finding a partner or someone else who can take this beautiful Cancerian, loving nature, wanting to make sure that resources are, well established, um, finding some good earth to help support this water in a partner or friends. Also, I want to make clear that this eighth house is other people's money. So, where the second house, your identity is this is mine, this is what I own, and this is my cozy blanket, and this is my property. Um, the North Node stretch goal for you is in the eighth house of other people's money. This could be in taxation. It can be also in real estate, other people's property, money exchange, etc. So it's interesting, right? Um, yeah, wills are in this house, the eighth house. So let's go next. Let's go bring in some stars. Now, working as a practitioner with Julia Balaz's teaching, we've learned that on her calculator, for those who I think are in Galactic 101 online course or the practitioner course, you have more access to information. So I'm not sure if all this is available for free, but we'll just assume that it is. Okay, so what are we seeing here? I just called up the conjunctions to the soul's journey in this cosmos. All right. So we see the beautiful star, 29 degrees, 21 minutes, Alcyone. Interesting portal here at the ascendant. Oftentimes people are going to say, and I think it's Lisa Royal Holt, that oftentimes Alcyone is a gateway into our universe here. So right away I go, galactic personality. We see this person. This is the ascendant. We see this person as a little bit head up in the stars, looking at the stars, wondering about the bigger picture. All right. Let's see, what else do we see? Sirius B, Mirzam, is 6 degrees, 33 minutes, conjunct this beautiful, expansive Jupiter, 6 degrees, 55 minutes in Cancer. So, what does this mean? Jupiter expands things it touches. Okay, it has this expansive quality. It has a judicial quality too. So Sirius B, so there's a Sirius A, the brightest star in the heavens. And then there's this tiny little Sirius B that I want to say the Dogon people of Africa would point up and say, that's where we're from. Sirius B, Dogon. Yeah, I think it was the half fish, half human people, right? That we got the Pisces sign from, the Dogons. But how did the African people, the Dogons, How are they able to look up into the heavens and go, that's where we're from, where the naked eye could never even see past the blazing light of Sirius A that they were from Sirius B? And guess what? There's a Sirius C. Seriously. So it is a marker for high creativity that this person expands and enjoys expanding creativity in their world. Second house Cancer. Yeah, really likes the cozy blankets or likes to have the creature comforts, but in a very creative way. Oh, and then look, here comes Sirius A. That is the brightest star in our heavens that we can see from Earth. Okay, so Sirius A, and both Sirius A and Sirius B are from the constellation of the big dog, Canis Major. So this one, wow, is sitting right with, gosh, the South Node. I would say, this is just how I'm reading the tea leaves, is that this person actually came in as this highly intelligent being from Sirius A. The Syrians were our forefathers working with Pleiadian star mothers. The Syrians are also connected to Egypt and the grids and the pyramids and sacred geometry. Big underscore on sacred geometry. It's the logical side. Where the Pleiadian mothers, Eliliu and others stayed behind to help support humanity. The Syrians were here to really focus on, I believe, the two, our DNA strands. So look at that beautiful, interesting spiral of that geometry. So I'm just doing a cursory look. I would say, I would see this person as South Node coming in with very strong, high intelligence. Doesn't always show up that way, but that's what it looks like from a broad brushstroke. I'm just laying in the broad brushstrokes. I'm not working on eyelashes or, eyebrows yet. So here we go. And then they've got Arcturus and Spica conjunct their natal Neptune. So Neptune in Libra in the 6th house. Arcturus, the pathfinder. How are you going? And Spica, the gift of the goddess in Virgo, right? So Arcturus is coming from the constellation Boots. Spica in Virgo, the gift that the goddess is giving, not for you personally, but through you for the collective, right? So interesting with Neptune. And I understand that this anonymous person really likes water. So I wanted to look at that natal Neptune in Libra, 23 degrees Libra, 19 minutes. What I'm picking up on is, isn't it interesting, Libra, the two scales? I'm almost feeling like Arcturus is here. And yes, you could say Arcturian star being, and Spica star seed, the two. Arcturus is usually holding the divine masculine, and Spica, the divine goddess, feminine energy. Interesting, working with natal Neptune. And oftentimes, as astrologers, we see Neptune as the higher octave of beautiful Venus. Venus, more earthly love, sensuality. Neptune, higher octave, cosmic love, the bigger love, showing up in the 6th house of service, devoted service. Okay, let me keep going. Izar, conjunct or quite close conjunction to the vertex. Fated moments will happen with the vertex, 29 degrees Libra. So learning how to do transits or what's ahead, I'd look for any auspicious transit to your vertex. And you can now call in the beautiful star Izar. That's Izar. Can't go into too much depth on that one, but let me tell you, that is the rainbow light. That is a star that is just gorgeous, rainbow colored, in the house of service and this balance. So the 29th degree is the anaretic degree of Libra. So sometimes maybe this individual is like, oh, I'm not sure how to hold the scales. The 29th degree of any sign will show its shadows more often. It's the final degree. So Libra, I'm not sure which decision to make because I can see both sides. I see your point and I see your point. But how do I decide? So the shadow of Libra might be indecisiveness. It's like going to McDonald's. Not that we go to McDonald's anymore, but going to McDonald's and staring and having to read through the whole agenda of like what do you want to eat, and just not able to decide. Just pick for me somebody else. That's kind of an example of a 29th degree Libra just trying to make a decision, would you? Now you can call in the beautiful star Izar. Bring that rainbow light of this star around you to help really get you focused on your attention to devoted service, to the healing of your body. This is the house of the body, especially the digestion. Okay. Gosh, I guess I'm going around your wheel. Here we go. Sirma and the Shapley attractor, working in conjunction to the natal Saturn in Scorpio. Dun, dun, dun. So what do we know? Saturn, the teacher. Do your Saturn. So this is about the intensity of Scorpio that likes secrets and keeps secrets, and it has intense passion. That can be a good thing, and it could be an other thing too. The intensity, Scorpio is related again to the 8th house. So Scorpio, sex, death, and rebirth with the Saturn, the structure of it, the teacher. Now it's looking, and it's in the house of devoted service and daily routine. So the teacher, but look, you can see it's Saturn in retrograde. Neptune was in retrograde at the moment of birth. And then we got the Shapley attractor. And all I'm going to say about that one is we have a Milky Way galaxy here. And then we have a center to our Milky Way galaxy that we call the galactic center. Okay. And then science has found out, and I hypothesized and then proved that there's a center within the center of the galactic center. Get that? So it's like, okay, and that is called the supergalactic center. Well, the Shapley attractor is the center within the center within the center within the center. So it's just like a black hole within a black hole within a black hole. And did I tell you that supergalactic center, they hypothesize, has about 32 plus universes rotating around its center. So you can just see this is like massive. But what does it mean, in this 3D timeline? For me, it means that when stuff happens, right? You're in the black hole, you're drawn to things that might involve intense issues with health or intense issues with being of service to helping other people. Now, this is what they call intercepted. So this may be underwater even more, really deep, deep, deep sensing. And the Lilith is intercepted as well. So these are just minor little tea leaves. But what we're doing is we're bringing in the stars to help add to the third dimensional cosmic portrait. Okay. So if this is all light language to you, go ahead and just breathe it in if you choose, and later come back and take another listen. It's just this layering and energetic qualities that can be available. And once we're conscious of it, or someone says, hey, look, you've got the beautiful star Vega conjunct your North Node in Capricorn in the 8th house. What does that mean? Well, and it's 14 degrees, 41 minutes. So look, it's 1441. What does that mean? Well, for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm tuning into it and I'm rambling. Who's there to help guide you with your life purpose in that intense house? The desire for mastery, to be out in the world, talking about transformation, about deep magic, alchemy. Um, but Capricorn really wants to get to the top of the mountain. Like, tell me how to get to the top. And so the desire, though, would be the easy fallback is I'll just stay home. Thank you very much. Who wants to go out into this transpersonal house, right? Because this is the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. These are transpersonal. Did I get that right? The first 4 houses are personal. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have that wrong. The 8th house is interpersonal still. Must be interpersonal because it's about sex, death, and rebirth. So, so who's going to help me when that happens? Who's going to help me with my rebirth when I'm rebirthing? It's Vega. Vega is so beautiful. From what I understand, looking at Lisa Royal Holt's book called The Prism of Lyra, Lyra is the constellation Lyra holds the shape of a harp, right? And so when I see that and I remember it's getting yourself in tune, attunement, but it was supposed to be the cradle of the galaxy. This is where we all began, so to speak, in linear terminology. In multidimensional terminology, you're still there having a Vega lifetime. And the star Vega was much more the feminine of going within. So you've got your yin and your yang, right? So this is more yin, going inside for all my answers to these dark alchemical questions about sex, death, rebirth, other people's money. It's going to, I can guide you, is what Vega is saying. Call me in during your meditation. Go look at Lisa Royal Holt's Galactic Heritage cards about Vega. This is the one, the guiding light to help support your life purpose. That's what I would say. So I'm going to take a broader look. Yeah, yeah. Okay, this Alcyone. Oh, and looking at the overall wheel again. So the dot in the middle is basically the place we all want to be, this very center place. And the geometry within all these aspects that are creating looks like, do you remember that game, Cat's Cradle? Like the blue lines, these are oppositions, but it's kind of a cool, like Cat's Cradle. And then we see these other areas. The strongest one seems to be Pluto working with Lilith, this really dark, bright red. But I digress. Let's go ahead and look at the broad brushstrokes of just the conjunctions here. Alcyone at the ascendant, this beautiful Pleiadian star that sits on the back of the constellation Taurus, the bull. So are you a Pleiadian? I'm a Pleiadian. So what we see is this person does carry or seems to look like the beautiful Pleiadian energy. This is someone who I feel like it does seem to go back to the creation story of the current human beings, this variation, because I'm seeing the Pleiades show up. I'm seeing the Syrians show up. I mean, the Arcturians are here, Arcturus. So, and the Lyrans. So when I look at, and I've got this big dark hole, this massive super cosmic point. So, and I also see the Virgo energy. So if you just look at, again, reading about galactic heritage, Lyran starseed energy, the galactic origins, and then Pleiadian energy as the ascendant. This is how we see you. Very Pleiadian, very loving, feminine energy of support, going back to all this Cancerian lineup here in the chart. And then seriously, able to like be much more about, okay, science and technology, having capability or remembering it. But for me, when I look at this, everything moves towards this beautiful North Node, 14 degrees Capricorn, 48 minutes. 14. Why are the fours really showing up in the 14s when you look numerologically? Got some nines, completions, got an anaretic degree. But yeah, I think from if I would start the portrait here, it would really be about this is like an origin star seed, someone who was there at the beginning of time and who's so focused and coming back to help humanity speak and talk. Here's Mercury, who's ruling this chart from a loving place. There's 18, which 18 degrees Cancer, 18 dropping into a 9, right? So, what are the final words that you want to tell us? Third house. This is about coming out and like talking to us like early childhood. Like, give us the first steps to understanding this. Don't pontificate like, here I am doing my PhD. This person can speak in a very pedestrian, understandable way. They may even make you feel like you're on the schoolyard and you're talking to your best friend. So that's just how adding the stars back into the astrology, working again very differently than Bernadette Brady. Okay. So I'm just going to show you this chart. Right now, there's 64 stars or star points available in working with Julia Balaz's program. So this just gives you the whole lineup. Where are all the stars? It's not saying you have a soul connection to each one. It's just showing you the broad picture. If you ever sign up for a Galactic Astrology reading, there's over 70 certified practitioners now. And so you can find someone that matches your energy, maybe is close to your time zone, but I can't remember how many languages. It's in Eastern Europe, Asia, North America, I think South America as well. So even though I've been involved for over 3 years and this has just like grown exponentially. But learning to be a practitioner, you can pull data and chart reports like this. Now, if you pulled your chart report or got a reading like a year or 2 years ago, some of the stars may be new to you. This evolutionary process of the calculator, as time and the spiritual download comes in to add more stars, we're just seeing a snapshot. And it may not be, certainly not comprehensive because there's thousands of stars in the sky. But now we're reading the data and the soul connection points. I have to tell you, when you study this, if you choose to, the connections are not based on this is more important, in a first column soul connection than being down over here. It's just how the system presents itself. So, what you can see is this person is born with a lot of gifts. Sirma is the hem of the Virgo, the Virgin constellation, right? What does it mean to hold the star that is the hem of the goddess? I'm going to leave that as a rhetorical question. What does that mean? But it's the first thing that shows up because it's 0 degrees, 53 minutes to this person's natal sun in Cancer in the second house. But right away, I mean, these yellow underscores, this is my chunky highlighter. But look, here's a royal star, Fomalhaut. Oh, look, here's another royal star, Antares. Oh, and here's another royal star, Aldebaran. Oh, here's Fomalhaut again, working with the ascendant, but in a square. Okay, so this is learning light language through the astrological vocabulary. For me, what I like to see is within the whole heavens, who are my star families? Okay, so let's just put the black holes on the side. Tell me like a star that I can have a connection to. And if you look at this Cygnus, the beautiful swan star, Deneb Adige. This is the shaman star working with this person's Mars in the 8th house. Oh, good. The shaman star is working you towards your mastery of, and assertive, let's just go do this. in the 8th house of intensity. You've got help there. Yeah, part of the journey is working and meeting this beautiful star that actually carries the Isis creator energy. Osiris, Isis, Horus, right? Wow. Look at all these royal stars. What does it mean? And look, even Regulus, the king star, is working with the vertex. Remember, vertex is that fated cosmic point in the 6th house of Libra, anaretic degree. What is the king star at 0? I mean, look at the orb is carrying 13. There's so much divine feminine in this chart. It's beautiful. Also, look at Algol, the head of Medusa's running around working with your Lilith and your Chiron, you know? So, what does that mean? That's transformation as well, right? Interesting. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. So, this is what we do. If you get a reading from one of the certified galactic soul guidance practitioners, each one of us might come in with just a different flavor. So, you go to Baskin Robbins and there's 31 flavors. It's all ice cream, but we're bringing our special recipes, our secret ingredients with us in a reading. So, yeah, there's no conformity, there's no cookie cutter. What it is it's all energy. And again, for me in 2025, I know that this year, next year, and 2027, it's like, okay, go time. It's evolution and transformation time. Maybe this individual, this soul that I just read on briefly, is here to help guide us in this very bumpy, transformative birth canal moment of transcendence and transmutation. We'll go ahead and add in transfiguration too, as we evolve with Mother Earth. Fascinating. It's just so fascinating. I want to thank this individual for giving me the opportunity to share because it helps me see and tune into and know a little bit more about, wow, let's look at this example of how did it show up in the lifetime. So in some ways, going back to Vega, the beautiful star in Lyra constellation that's guiding this person's north node, all answers are within. Yes, nothing to do. It's all within me. And I'm getting this sense of emanation. Like you can go and do all this and be all that. And yes, check all the boxes. But in some ways, it's this calling to work with Vega, go within, bring in that inward gaze of the third eye and sit and be still and emanate like the Buddha. Maybe at the bottom of the sea, that's possible. Thinking about that Neptune, thinking about the transformation houses that are here in this reading. This is deep, deep work. But going back to the genesis of look who's conjunct, look at the beautiful players. It's like they're all back and stacked in your energy for this now moment as a guide, as a gift bringer, as a pathfinder, as a shaman star. And we see you as very Palladian, loving and kind, and working with the collective. All right, everybody. Part of the mission or the core mission of the Ascension Playground is how do we lighten up? And sometimes it's just playing this game of sitting in a tea party with your favorite stars, getting a Galactic Astrology report or a starlight report. Now you know who to invite to your party. All right. Take care, everybody, and hope to see you again soon on the Ascension Playground. Bye for now.